Hello, and how's everyone doing today? Welcome to the channel. If you're new, if you're a returning viewer, glad to have you back, and welcome to another episode of Justin Talks Games. More so, Justin Talks Movies today, because I want to talk about the Resident Evil movie. Um, just some new information that came out, like a new trailer came out, and I've also had some time to watch all the interviews that he did. Thanks to, I can't remember the channel's name, but there was a YouTube channel that did all of his interviews that split up into two videos. It was like an hour and a half video each one. So I watched those. I skipped around a little bit here and there, but for the most part, I watched all the interviews in those, and definitely got some stuff to say about Zack Cregger. Oh boy. So anyway, make sure to grab your drink. Got my drink here, coffee, or what's left of it. Make sure to grab your snack. I don't have any snacks out here, and let's get into it. First off, I want to say, yes, I know my camera is at a not right angle, but as you can see, I'm sitting outside. Quite beautiful, quite beautiful out today. Quite wonderful. Excuse me. And where I would usually sit to do my talking videos out here, there is no shade, and I really don't want to be sitting in the sun, getting burned up. So if it bothers you, watch this on a phone or some sort of mobile device, tablet, whatever, because this won't look proper on the TV. But if it doesn't bother you, just keep watching. As I said, some new stuff came out, new trailer. The trailer was like 90% the same shit that we've seen before, except for the ending of the trailer. Now, the end of the trailer showed Austin Abrams' character. I think his name's Brian. I honestly don't even remember. Shows him in like a barn or something, and there's like a dog. Its head is through the door and it's trying to get at him, which I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. The dog looks really cool. And then the dog's head literally splits open like that and tentacles shoot out. And that's where I rolled my eyes. That's where I literally rolled my eyes. Because that also confirms a lot of what I thought and what I'm thinking. And also confirms what he also says as well in his most recent interviews and stuff, which contradicts a lot of the stuff that he said before. But yeah. So let's get into some stuff here. So when he first started doing interviews, he said, this movie takes place during Resident Evil 2. It happens during the same time Leon and Claire are doing their thing, which is like, okay, that sounds pretty interesting. You don't see them, you don't do this, you don't do that, but it's happening at the same time, and you're like, okay, it sounds interesting, all right. But then when you watch the trailer, there's like a very new modern iPhone. And a lot of things, and another thing that a lot of people also bring up is the snow. Now, you see a lot of Zack Cregger lovers out there who are like, who gives a shit about the snow? Who cares about the snow? Blah, 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 blah. And the thing is, consistency. That's all we want. All we want is consistency and lore-accurate stuff. It's not that hard. But apparently to movie makers, it's very hard. We don't even need a one-for-one Resident Evil 1 movie, one-for-one Resident Evil 2 movie. It can be a random person in the Resident Evil world. Make it something like Resident Evil Outbreak. The Outbreak games are random civilians. You have a subway worker, you have a waitress, a college student, a doctor, and a regular RPD police officer. Not even stars, just a regular police officer. And these are the player characters, in the Outbreak games. And those are, beloved. They have a huge following. Hell, when the servers shut down, there were on the emulators, the PlayStation 2 emulators. They fans made servers so they could continue playing online, because Outbreak is an online game. You know, so we don't need like Chris, Leon, Jill, Barry, blah blah blah. We don't need them for the movie to be automatically good, right? And another example of this is look at Resident Evil 7 and 8. I don't personally care too much for Resident Evil 8. I have my reasons. I'm not going to really get into it. But look at Resident Evil 7 and 8. It's not Chris, it's not Leon, it's not Jill, blah, 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 blah. It's Ethan Winters, just a regular guy. And those games are very, very popular. A lot of people absolutely love them to bits. I personally prefer 7 over 8 because it feels. Yes, the enemies are, in my opinion, kind of boring because, there's like maybe what? 3 types of enemies and that's it. And, so enemy variety is kind of boring, but that aside, um, the feeling of it, the story, everything is very good. I really like Resident Evil 7. And it also has some connections to, previous organizations like the Connections, HCF. There's an article from Alyssa Ashcroft, who again is from Outbreak. So sorry, a news reporter. That's another player character. And then Joseph Kendo is also mentioned as well, right? Who made the guns. His brother Robert is the one who was in Resident Evil 2 original remake. But anyway, basically what I'm trying to say is that we don't need the original cast of 1 and 2 for a movie or a game to automatically only be good, and if they don't have them, they be bad, right? So Austin Abrams' character, right? The idea behind it, originally what he said first, Austin Abrams, he's going to Raccoon City Hospital to drop something off. During the events of Resident Evil 2, we don't see the PlayStation, we don't see anything going on. But while Austin Abrams' character Brian, he's doing whatever he's doing, the events of Resident Evil 2 is also unfolding. So it's like the idea there, it's like, okay, that sounds really cool. Again, it's kind of, similar to like an Outbreak type of thing. It's like, okay, that's really cool. But it's the consistency, right? Resident Evil 2, well, actually, Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, Survivor, and Code Veronica all take place in 1998, right? There were no iPhones in 1998. It was not snowing during the events. I could be wrong. I think I always get the months mixed up a little bit. From like 1, 2, and 3, I get the months mixed up. But I think it was around August. I think because Resident Evil 3 takes place in September 28 or something. So I think like Resident Evil 2 and 3, they take place between August, September, something like that. And obviously there's no snow in August or September, right? Hello. So his reasoning for that was, well, there's not a lot of snow in horror movies, so I took a few liberties, I'll get into that too, a few liberties, and I added snow, because I think snow is really fucking cool, and that was his exact words, right? It's really fucking cool, He doesn't know Resident Evil. He says he does, but he doesn't know Resident Evil. Those are just two of the things, that a lot of people talk about are the phone and the snow. But I mean, there are other things too. The newest trailer that dropped, it had, the end had a dog, and the dog was really cool. It looked like it was coming through like a barn or something, because I guess he goes in a barn in the movie. So he locks himself in the barn, and it shows the dog. The dog's trying to get through, and its head is through the barn door, and is yapping at him. It's trying to get at him. Which I mean, like okay, that looks pretty cool. But then its head explodes open, and tentacles shoot out, and that's when I rolled my eyes, because he claims that, and now I'm gonna go back now, because he claims that he's played all the Resident Evil games and he loves the Resident Evil games and he knows everything about them. He's the biggest fan in the world, pretty much. He makes it out to be. But then later on in an interview, in a different interview later on, he was asked, oh, okay, well, you're a big fan. That's not like you always say. So what are like your top 4 or 5 Resident Evil games? So you could tell in his body language he got really nervous. He was rubbing his hands. He was all that. He was, you could tell he was nervous, or a little annoyed. One of the two. He tends to get very annoyed and very nervous in interviews. He's also very controlling, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, so he was asked, okay, what's your favorite Resident? What is like your top 4 or 5 Resident Evil games? And he goes, well, it'd have to be Resident Evil 4 Remake 789. And he answered it really fast like that. Like he was pulling numbers out of his ass, or he had it pre-thought in his mind. Okay, well, I know 7, 8, and 9 are very, very popular. So I'll say 7, 8, 9. Just how fast he said it. He didn't seem very confident in his answer. Or he tried to make it look like he was confident, but you could tell he wasn't confident in his answer. Any Resident Evil fan who was asked, hey, what's your top 4 or 5 Resident Evil games? Even if it's a not popular game or a not popular answer, you're going to be confident in your reply, right? I'll use an example for me. If I mean, this will probably never happen, but if I were to ever be on a podcast with another YouTubers, or get an interview with, some big organization or whatever, just saying, if hypothetically any of those things were to happen to me, and it was and the conversation had to do with Resident Evil, and if I was asked, hey, what is your top 4 or 5 Resident Evil games, I would confidently say 0, Original 1, Original 2, Code Veronica, and Resident Evil 1 Remake. That's what I would say, and I would be confident about it, because I do really like Resident Evil 3, don't get me wrong, but to me it was a little weaker than the previous games, 1 and 2. I also felt that Code Veronica's story, with how unique it is and everything, was a much stronger story than Resident Evil 3. But I still enjoy Resident Evil 3. And if you noticed, I did not have Resident Evil 4 on there, which is, especially online, whether it be Facebook or Reddit, whatever, apparently it's very controversial to not have Resident Evil 4 in your top, S tier, Resident Evil liking list. And basically, if it's not up there, you're a fake fan. That's how you're treated. But I'm not going to get into why, I don't really like it and all that. Although I will admit the gameplay is very, very fun. And my favorite thing about Resident Evil 4 is Mercenaries. I'll admit, I've been playing Mercenaries for years and years and years. And I think that's one thing that I won't stop playing when it comes to Resident Evil 4. Because I genuinely do very much enjoy Mercenaries. That's one thing. One of the good things for me that came out of Resident Evil 4 was the Mercenaries. I really did enjoy it. But as a whole, for various reasons that have nothing to do with this video, I don't really care for it. I don't hate it, like it's like the scum of the earth. I don't hate it, but I don't really. It's not my top 5. Let's just leave it at that. But anyway. Either way, I would be confident, and I would say that. Whether people would agree with what I say, disagree, question me, or whatever, I would be confident enough when I would say my top three, like I said. 0, 1, 2, 3, or sorry, 0, 1, 2, Veronica, and 1 remake. And I would be honest about it. When it comes to Zack Cregger, you could tell he said 4 remake, 789. He just pulled 789 out of his ass. He also admitted that, like, most of his time spent playing Resident Evil as a whole was Resident Evil 4 remake. So he knows shit all about the T-Virus. He doesn't know anything about T-Virus. He doesn't know anything about, the Raccoon City outbreak. I mean, maybe he knows from watching videos online or reading things online, because that's another thing. He also admitted that he sees what people write. He does go on Reddit. He does see all the stuff. He does, see the disagreements, the agreements. He sees all of that. And he would admit that, he sees it all, but pretty much doesn't really care. But he understands where people are coming from. Does it change his ways? No. But anyway, he does see it. So he probably sees all the other like lore stuff from online YouTube videos, blah blah blah, whatever. But there's no way in hell that he like knows all that. Again, iPhones in 1998, yeah, right. Snow during the events, no. And then he admitted after, because remember what I said earlier. He said that it takes place during Resident Evil 2. Again, I mean, the same time. Like, it takes place during the same time. But then he admitted it's not 1998. This takes place in 2026. What the hell? Resident Evil 2, actually, Resident Evil 1, 2, sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, Veronica, Earth, oh my god, I get them mixed up, sorry. 0, 1, 2, 3, Survivor, and Veronica are all in 1998, not 2026. Resident Evil 9 is in 2026. The guy doesn't know what he's talking about at all. So, what I was saying before about how the dog and the tentacles confirmed my suspicions and a lot of other people's suspicions. So that's where the tentacle dog comes from. It's a Ouroboros dog. He didn't come out to say that, but obviously by players who play the game would know this. And him only playing Resident Evil 4 Remake would use the tentacle dogs. Apparently, I could be wrong, apparently there's only 3 scenes that have a lot of zombies in it. But it's a Resident Evil movie. Okay. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't even know. Another thing I want to talk about too is just his overall attitude, honestly. I know if any Zack Cregger fans, are watching this video, which they probably don't, because let's be bluntly honest, I don't get a lot of view on my videos, and I'm not a very big channel, so I'm probably not going to get any Zack Cregger fans who watch my videos, but that's okay. Zack Cregger comes off as a huge fucking asshole. Honestly, I don't like him. I didn't mind him too much when I seen bits and pieces of interviews and stuff like that, but honestly, after sitting and watching a big amount of his interviews and all that, man, he's an asshole. Holy shit. He's very controlling in his interviews, and very demanding. And he also threatened Austin Abrams too in one of them, and I'm not even joking. But no, anytime an interviewer asks a question or whatever, you can see he starts fidgeting, he gets very nervous and all that. And then he just he tries to take full control of the situation. He tries to take control of the interview itself. He's been, quite rude to the interviewers and stuff. There's another thing too that I find very serious, so I'm going to take glasses off for a second here. It's very sunny, so you're going to get squinty me, but I want to talk about this with glasses off for a second. He makes jokes about Austin Abrams almost dying. Yeah, Zack Cregger literally almost killed him. Like, legitimately almost killed Austin Abrams during the filming of the Resident Evil film. And he makes lights and jokes of it, even with Austin Abrams sitting right beside him. Like, what the fuck's wrong with the guy? Like, honestly. Um, so, I guess there's a part. So, they're filming the part of the movie, again, like I talked about the zombies running and jumping off, so him running through the city. I guess there's a part where one of the zombies jumped down, and Zack Cregger said if he was standing a step, either I can't remember if it was left or right, whatever, but if he was like two steps, one or two steps, literally away from where he would have been crushed and he would have been killed. And he's like, yeah, it looked really cool how close that thing got to him or whatever. And he's like, yeah, we kept it in the movie. It looked really good, so we kept it in the movie. So he's making jokes and he's making light of literally almost genuinely killing somebody during movie filming with the Austin Abrams right beside him. Like, the guy, I don't care for him. I genuinely don't. There's also another one that I kind of want to, again, keep glasses off because it's a serious thing. I can't remember the question, but there was a question asked to Austin Abrams during one of the Resident Evil interviews, and Zack Cregger literally turns to Austin Abrams with a very serious tone, very serious body posture, looks at Austin Abrams, and he goes, be very careful how you answer that question, or be very careful with what you say. It's one of those two things. But yeah, he threatens him. Like, what the fuck what the heck, what is wrong with him? I don't get it. But people, they love him, they praise him all the time. I don't get it. Honestly, the guy is a control freak. He's an asshole. He doesn't know anything to do with Resident Evil at all. Am I going to go see this movie? Yeah, me and a friend of mine and Cassandra, we're all going to go see it. I don't have high hopes about it. But, I'm still going to go see it because, it's Resident Evil and stuff. And then obviously after I see it, the next day or the next couple of days, whenever I have the chance, I'll do a movie and I'll talk about it. But, yeah, I don't have any high hopes for this movie. Again, there's the one scene looks kind of cool when he's running down and the zombies are falling off the building, but other than that, I don't know. I think the way Zack Cregger acts in interviews and towards his employees also influences how I feel about the movie too, a lot more now to what I did before. So I'm not having high hopes. I really don't like him. But again, I'm still going to go see the movie. But I don't know. That's what I wanted to talk about today. And, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun kind of stuff. Let me know your thoughts on Zack Cregger, the Resident Evil movie situation, the way he behaves and all that, your opinions, all that kind of stuff. Let me know, write it all in the comments, and I will see you guys in my next video. And until then, I hope you all have a very wonderful day. Have a great day.